I want to get into the credit conversation. They say that the majority of people's credit is falling significantly because of what's happening out in the economy. Make sure you hit a like for the algorithm. Subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. Let's rock.
All right, new this morning, new data showing that credit scores are falling at the fastest pace in the U.S. since the Great Recession as Americans
They're dressing up their animals, dressing like their animals. Also, licking their animals in the face, letting their animals get up on the counter while they're cooking, always wanting to participate in a potluck with their stuff right after they got done cooking with their animals. Letting their girls go to college and letting them get it all in and get it out of their system. Oh my God. All of that good stuff is nice and white.
struggle to keep up with the rising cost of living. Let's go right to CNN's Matt Egan for this. Doesn't sound good.
Yeah, no, John, it's not. It's more evidence that some Americans, they're hurting because of the high cost of living.
One shower a day or two. All right, look, we're going to restart this. Let's start this over. Kissing a dog in the mouth, letting them lick him in the mouth. All of that. All of that. Showers with bars of soap only. Getting little step ladders for their pets. Sleeping with their pets. Oh, going up north. That's a good one. Going up north. Going up north is definitely a white person thing. They like to go camping, experiencing nature. They love mosquitoes. Always going somewhere where it's super dangerous. They want to climb Mount Everest. They always want to chase death. They're chasing death. They're trying to find themselves. Most black people try to find themselves in their 30s. White people don't try to find themselves until they in their late 40s, early 50s. Then they got to discover themselves. Lots of men getting divorced in their 40s and 50s, trying to figure out how they're going to deal with it. Later on in their life, when they get themselves together, they want them a super black woman, a chocolate African. Listen, let me tell you something about white men. When they go and get a black girl, they don't want that caramel. They don't want none of that stuff. They don't want that caramel nonsense. They want they chick looking like a marker. That's a fact. Let me tell you something, bro. White men want they black girls black. They don't want them. They don't want them even with a hint of whiteness in them. They don't want them light skinned chick. They don't want none of. They'll hit you. Don't worry about it. They'll bust you down. They'll butt you down, but they want they chicks black. They want they chicks super black. I don't know what that is. Jamandis, you want me to get into credit? All right, I'll talk about credit. Credit, y'all. Let's get into the credit game.
All right, new this morning, new data showing that credit scores are falling at the fastest pace in the U.S. since the Great Recession as Americans struggle to keep up with the rising cost of living. Let's go right to CNN's Matt Egan for this. Doesn't sound good.
Yeah, no, John, it's not. It's more evidence that some Americans, they're hurting because of the high cost of living and because of the return of student loans. So FICO had found that credit scores on average, they increased every single year between 2013 and last year when they dipped. And today, FICO says there's an even bigger drop this year. As you mentioned, the biggest since 2009 during the Great Recession. Credit scores, they're still pretty high, moving in the wrong direction, in part because more and more Americans are falling behind on their bills. FICO says that delinquency rates are at or near the highest level since 2009 on car loans, credit cards, and also on personal loans as well. And
the Ponzi scheme is over. The Ponzi scheme is over. All right. Robbing Peter to pay Paul, it's over. Those of us that are super smart, we have been preparing and we have been getting rid of our money and we have become less dependent on banks and the system. Banks will always be around. Banks will always try to chase people down and give money to people that spend a lot of money and all of that. But a lot of us have started to tamp down. We paying off our cars. We, you know what I'm saying, getting more equity in our house by paying our houses down. We paid off our student loans. all of that stuff. Some of us are being a lot more responsible. Now, that completely goes against the shiny object theory, right? We always want that new shiny object until we get it, and then we like, It's like even me, right? I've had an epiphany, obviously not about credit, but I've had an epiphany, and I was talking to my daughter, and she was like, Dad, we got all of these cars, we don't even drive them. I said, that's true. Cayenne been sitting for a little while. Mercedes, I try to swap it out with the nav. You know what I'm saying? She said, Dad, we just got a bunch of stuff that we don't need. So I said, okay, let's go through a cleanse, right? Let's go through a cleanse. Let's try to figure out how we can get rid of some of these cars because we don't really need them and it doesn't make sense. And so, but a lot of people, they don't just buy it cash. They buy it, or they don't do a one payment lease or none of that. They finance everything. And so as long as they can ride, they don't really care how much it costs them. And so that's when you're seeing the rise of Afterpay and Klarna, and the repo man is outside and the foreclosure man is outside. And so, it's a lot of people that got caught up in the credit game. Y'all keep on thinking that credit is meaningful. And I'm not telling you to not have a decent score, but what I am telling you is to become less dependent on credit, because all it does is give you permission to buy stuff that you don't need. Honestly, it gives you permission to buy stuff that you don't need. I'm going through a whole. I'm broke. I mean, cash broke. Time Dog is cash broke out here in these streets.
Gen Z, they're under even more pressure. FICO says that credit scores for Gen Z down by the most of any age group since 2020. And part of that problem, of course, is student debt, right? Starting in February, they started to report delinquencies on student loans for the first time since COVID. And FICO has found that a record high 29% of people who have student debt have been reported as delinquent. Only 62% have actually made a recent payment. And look at this, another 9%, they could be reported delinquent soon because they have student debt, but they have not made.
A lot of people have given up. I even seen some women that's so far in the debt that they just decided to go back to school so that the government don't garnish their wages. There are women that have become lifetime students because they can defer their student loans. I've seen a woman basically become a lifetime student. She has to be in her 70s at this point. Do you know this chick's still going to school? She got all kind of degrees, doctorates, masters, and all of this stuff. Student debt out the wazoo. I said, why you ain't never really used it, never leveraged it in order to do better? Only just went to, it's some women that just like going to school and they would prefer to go to school than pay off their debt and live a better life. Sebastian K says student loan interest is predatory. No, it's not. No, it's not. Guess what? You don't have to take it. I'm going to stand against you on that one. I'm actually going to reject that narrative. You do not have to take out student loans. Student loan interest is not predatory. It's called interest for a reason. Tell me that you're just not financially literate and you're doing things that you're not supposed to do, and then we can go from there. I'm not going for it. It's called being responsible. It is called being responsible. Guess what? When you take out money, you have to pay interest on it. Y'all keep trying to blame everybody else from your problems. It is not predatory. It is called a loan for a reason. Listen, think about it like this. The taxpayers are actually the people that are loaning you the money. All right. So we give money to the federal government to loan to you so that you can improve your life and then go to school and take care of your family and be a productive member of society. So we can fund your dreams, right? Let's say, for example, you give somebody some money and they say, hey man, I need 10K. And you say, what you need 10K for, bro? And they said, well, listen, man, I need this 10K because, in a couple years and in a few years and 4 years, maybe 6 years, I'll be able to give you that 10K back. And then you say, well, why would I give you 10K? Like, what do I get out of it? What would I get out of it? Listen, bro, if I give you 10, once you get out of school, until you finish paying it back, give me a little bit of interest on top of it to make it worth my while. Because it really, I'm just out of $10,000. I could have used that $10,000 for another investment and made more money from it or whatever, right? So you don't expect to just get something for nothing. I think that y'all predatory by borrowing money and expecting to pay the exact amount back when you feel like it. Inflation didn't hit. The money ain't even worth as much as it was worth when you first borrowed it. You've been deferring me. Listen, if I was the student loan loaner, I would be looking at you like, oh, but I see you bought that new car though. I see you keep taking vacations to Tulum. Don't you hate it when you loan somebody some money and they know they owe you and they didn't pay you back, but they go and live in the life and you see them taking vacations and they living better lives than you? I look at it a little bit differently. If I loan somebody some money and I see them living a good life and then they sitting there complaining about the fact that they got to pay me back, you the scammer. You're the scammer. You're the scammer. I can't stand when I see people living a good life. Wait a minute, you bought another car? How much you put down on that thing? Dog, you do? Oh, no, you do know. And then they try to act like you the bad person. Dog, you being petty over this amount of money? Yes, nigga, it's my money. I don't care if you don't think I need it. I need everything. I need all of my dollars. It's tough out here right now. I'm renovating one house. I'm building 4 of them. I'm building 4 more. And I'm trying to put a fence in the backyard that I got right now. I would like my money back right now. Keep on going to Tulum, living a good life. Keep on getting new car notes. You do know that you got a student loan to pay back, right? Y'all choosing this lifestyle. And now that they can hold y'all accountable, not only with the student loans, but also so they can put it on your credit report, now you feeling some type of way. Oh, man, I can't believe they put it on my credit report. That's not cool. Student loans been on your credit report for the longest.
Any recent payments. And it's not just student debt, right? You think about young people also contending with the worst job market for recent college graduates in years. I talked to a 22-year-old from Orlando who told me it took him 14 months and hundreds of job applications before he landed a job that wasn't a scam. But he said he's not making nearly enough money to get by, let alone to chip away at his $35,000 in student debt. So he said his credit scores have taken a drastic hit. And he's not alone. FICO found that almost 2/3, 64% of Gen Z student borrowers, they rely on more debt.
Somebody said, what if when I try to pay, what if when I try, because try is not in the Bible, so try again. What about when I try to pay it back and they're not working with you? Nigga, what you mean? You didn't get the statement? You don't know how much is due at the end of the month? Why you keep trying to work with somebody? Hey, man, pay your money, but pay the money back. These are the terms. This is what you signed. What do you mean? What is there to work with? So you short. So you short on my money. I gave you consignment. I gave you the product. And you short on my money. You ain't moved the product like you said that you was going to move. Well, that sound like you breach a contract. You want to breach a contract, dog. You trying to work with me, but you don't know the payment address? You don't know how to register online and make your student loans payments? I don't really understand. I don't get it.
Just to get by. That's people who have student debt. They've got to rely on credit cards and buy now, pay later, and also personal loans just to pay their bills. So, John, I do think this is just more evidence of the K-shaped economy, right? Where a lot of people who have money in the market, they own their home, they're doing okay. Others are not. And it just shows this disconnect where you got Wall Street, there's all this euphoria.
This is what I need you to do. Let me tell you. Want me to tell you what you should do? You're going to have to get a second job, bro. And knock that junk out. It's going to feel so good to not have no student loan debt, not have no payments. Anton, you so out of touch. That's cool. That's nice. Nigga, I'm not the person that's putting the marks on your credit report. Oh, money green in this mug. I'm not the person that's putting the marks on your credit report. So you don't have to get mad at me. Y'all more mad at me than y'all be at Sally Mae and Nelnet and whatever private loans that you took out, y'all be more mad at me than y'all be mad at the person that's actually trying to get their money back. I don't owe you nothing. I don't owe you nothing. Get a second job and stop being so prideful. Stop thinking that you're too good to work a second job. You too good to work with your hands. Get busy. Get to hustling. Run up a bag. And when you start making more money, don't go buy more stuff. Actually put it towards the things that you went to work for.